Welcome back to another Disney Store lightsaber review and unboxing for the lore. This is not our first rodeo with these Disney Store lightsabers. I've already done the Skywalker saber, Mace Windu, Rey, Yoda, Ahsoka, and I think that's it. You can check out the review for all of those lightsabers in the LOREsabers playlist right up there. So far, my favorites have definitely been the Yoda saber and the Rey saber. My favorite of the bunch was the Yoda saber for so long, but ever since I got the Galaxy's Edge Legacy Yoda lightsaber, this no longer has the top spot, really just because of how enormous it was and how misled I was to thinking that this was roughly the size of Yoda's lightsaber when the Galaxy's Edge Legacy lightsaber nailed it. They nailed it. They did it so well. You could also check out my review for the Yoda Legacy lightsaber right up there. So my current favorite of the bunch, I think, does have to be the Rey lightsaber. Even though the wheel doesn't ignite the lightsaber, it is just this stupid button. It looks so good. Like, from a distance, like from where you are right now, you probably couldn't even really tell whether this was a plastic toy lightsaber or the official Rey Legacy lightsaber from Galaxy's Edge. I would definitely be fooled just from the hilt alone, which is why I think the Rey saber takes my top slot for now. But we got a new one. It literally just arrived. It is indeed the Darksaber. I just pulled out the blade from this box. Okay, it's got like one of those little ties to cut right here, but it's just strange. There's no box for this item. Okay, never mind. I just took it out of the box, but this part just came loose out of the box. The Mandalorian Darksaber. I don't know how they decide which sabers to advertise on the back, but they've got, I think, the Obi-Wan and the Mandalorian. I skipped the Obi-Wan lightsaber because I just didn't like it. I still don't like how the skinny neck lightsabers are fat. It doesn't work for me. I wasn't even gonna spend my 40 bucks or so on it, which is how much these things cost. These are about $40 versus the Legacy $200+ lightsabers. So that's why I enjoy reviewing these. I enjoy comparing them to their insanely expensive counterparts. Okay, here it is. Already, it looks great. Again, from a distance, I don't know if you'd be able to tell that this was just a plastic toy and not sort of one of those higher end replicas. So the hilt looks great, and it looks way better than the other. We got like one other Darksaber toy from like Walmart and Target, and this looks way better than that one. It's the right colors, it's just black, whereas that Walmart Target one was just a gray color. I have it. I don't have it with me here, but I'll put a picture of it right here for comparison. It was around the same price, maybe a little cheaper, maybe that was more like 30 bucks, but this one looks so much better than that one. And I think maybe it was because they based this one off of the Clone Wars version, whereas this one is very much the one from The Mandalorian. You always hear lightsaber reviewers say whether or not it feels good in the hand, and this one does not. It really doesn't. It's light, it's plasticky, it might look like metal and might look like a dense material to you, but it actually does kind of feel cheap. It does feel plasticky, and it's very light, like very light, especially in comparison to those Legacy lightsabers, which are heavy, but it's kind of awesome that they're heavy. This one is just like, woo, hilariously light. It does come with the lightsaber belt clip, which I love. I love how all of these lightsabers in this line have this little belt clip. It is like super cheap and plasticky, but it really does the trick, and it makes it so, say your kid does want one of those super high-end $200+ lightsabers, because you can clip it to your belt, they got you covered. These can all be clipped to your belt. You can wear them around the parks, around conventions. It totally does the trick. I don't even think the Darksaber is supposed to have a cover tech wheel. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments if the Darksaber is supposed to have a cover tech wheel. I'm not sure, but this one does, and it goes right in that belt clip. This definitely runs the risk of sort of coming off your belt, but I have tried them. I'll do it right now. They work pretty well. Like, that's not really coming off. I like how it swings around.
and then you just take it out of the belt clip, and that's that. It sort of just stays right there, and it totally does the trick. I like the white accents there, but that's about it. That's about all you get as far as weathering and accents. You do get the silver at the tip there, and you get the silver on the CoverTech wheel and on the button, but it's pretty lackluster. I mean, it still looks phenomenal, but I could have used a little bit more detail. You've got this switch right here to take it off of demo mode. You could turn it off, or you could turn it on. I'm not gonna lie, this little tag thingy, really annoying to cut off. How does this go in? All right, looks like maybe this way. And it just clicks in. Is it that easy? That looks awesome. And I guess to take it out, you probably push this little button down. Yep, let's ignite it. Alright, so the sound is authentic to the Darksaber, of course. It'd be terrible if it wasn't. Flash on clash. Okay, there's a little bit of a flash and a heavy vibrate. This thing vibrates aggressively. It definitely vibrates more than any of the other ones here. And I just noticed that the deactivation is extremely gradual. Let's just see what the activation looks like. Same thing, the activation is like blatantly in chunks. And so is the deactivation, watch this. It's like literally in 4 chunks, that's rough. I mean, all of the activations for these sabers were pretty bad. And even the high-end legacy lightsaber activations are all pretty terrible in comparison to something like the higher-end NeoPixel lightsabers, but this one is kind of laughably bad. Like, it's like, here's Quadrant 1, Quadrant 2, Quadrant 3, and Quadrant 4. It's what it is, though. It's a cheaper end lightsaber toy, and it totally works. And the mechanism to take the blade in and out, and the fact that you can take the blade in and out, unlike that other toy that I showed you from earlier, is a major win. Let's test out the smooth swing now. Let's just see if it makes a different sound when you wave it around. Not really. There's an occasional swoosh, but it seems totally arbitrary. It's not linked to when I swing it around. So yeah, the technology is not that impressive either. Does this get the rating of premium? No, it does not. And it still doesn't quite beat the Rey lightsaber for me. Just because there's just a lot more detail and coloring on this one. They've got all kinds of like weathering at the bottom, weathering at the top. And I guess they were going with the shiny, clean look for the Darksaber, which it mostly is in the show. But with the amount of effort they put into that Rey saber versus this one, it does not beat out the Rey saber. And I cannot give this the rating of premium. That activation was rough, and I get now, remember before I said that it didn't feel good in the hands because it's so light? When you add this blade to it, it feels a lot better. Although, it is very blade heavy. So like, the blade is leading the saber, which I guess is on brand. That's kind of how it works in the show, right? The blade has a mind of its own, and that's kind of the same with this toy. So an argument can be made that that was purposeful, because without the blade in, it is like hilariously light, and it's because this weighs quite significantly by itself. So if they made this heavy, it either would have made the whole thing just a little bit too heavy for a kid, or it might have equally balanced it out, and it might have made it feel a little bit better in the hand, like a real lightsaber, because right now, it is blade heavy. So yeah, that's it. That's my review. It looks great. The lights look good, the hilt looks good. It looks good. I'm saying it's worth it for the money, but it's just not gonna get the rating of premium here. I'm sorry, it's just not gonna do it. I do have a higher end Darksaber on the way, so stay tuned for that video. If you liked this one, then make sure to like it and subscribe, and then you'll see me in the next lightsaber review for the lore. The blade just came out. Ugh. That's definitely the post-credit sequence.